It started as an ordinary live Zoom until the moment Phylicia Rashad's voice cracked and the world stopped breathing. Her eyes were wet, her lips trembling, and in a tone that carried decades of suppressed pain, she spoke the words no one was ready to hear. Malcolm's death was not an accident. For a moment, there was silence. The kind of silence that crushes your chest and steals the air from the room. Then, like the crack of thunder after a lightning strike, she dropped two names that sent shockwaves ripping through Hollywood: Bill Cosby and Tempestt Bledsoe. The chat exploded.
People gasped.
Some cried. Others simply froze, unable to process that the people Malcolm once called family could have plotted his downfall and his death. Phylicia's tears rolled freely now as she recounted the years Malcolm lived in fear. How he told her he was being sabotaged. How in 1997, a tape captured him, his voice shaking, accusing Tempestt of spreading lies, isolating him, and working with Cosby to erase him from Hollywood. Weeks later, he was gone. And then came the gut punch. News broke that Tempestt had been arrested. Cameras caught her in handcuffs, her face pale, the crowd outside screaming for justice. But Phylicia wasn't finished. Through choked sobs, she revealed there was a third conspirator. Someone still walking free. The internet erupted. Hashtag Justice for Malcolm and hashtag Cosby Exposed trended worldwide. Fans replayed old interviews, desperate for clues. And somewhere in that storm of grief and fury, one truth echoed louder than all. Malcolm didn't just die, he was taken. The screen flickered, and for a moment, it was just another live stream. Another celebrity appearance in a world drowning in gossip. But then her face appeared. Phylicia Rashad. Her eyes were not the confident, glowing eyes the public had known for decades. No, they were heavy, wet, carrying the weight of secrets too dark to live with. Her lips trembled. The silence before she spoke was suffocating. You could hear the faint crackle of her microphone. And then, with a voice that sounded like it had been clawing its way out for years, she said the words that froze millions in their tracks. Malcolm's death was not an accident. The live chat slowed, as if the world's heartbeat had skipped. Thousands watched in stunned disbelief, some leaning closer to their screens, others covering their mouths. In the corner of the live stream, a counter ticked higher, 30,000 viewers in seconds. She drew in a shaky breath, and her voice broke again. It was a plan, a cold, calculated plan, and the people behind it were the ones he trusted most. Then, the thunderclap. Two names: Bill Cosby, Tempestt Bledsoe. The comment section exploded like a bomb. What? She's lying. I knew it. I knew something was off. Some viewers cried instantly. Others froze in silent horror. These weren't random names. These were family, at least that's what the world thought. Phylicia's tears began to spill, unstoppable now. She didn't care about the cameras, about the millions watching. Her voice cracked with rage and grief. He told me.
He warned me.
For years, Malcolm lived in fear. Fear of being erased. Fear of losing everything he had built. And then, the revelation that felt like a punch to the chest, the 1997 tape. A grainy recording. A young Malcolm, his voice trembling but fierce, accusing Tempestt of spreading lies, planting poison in the ears of producers, turning friends into enemies. The words were like daggers. You're working with him. You won't stop until I'm gone. The live audience gasped collectively. Some typed frantically, asking if the tape was real. Others begged Phylicia to play it again. But she didn't have to. The pain in her voice was proof enough. And then breaking news. While the live stream was still going, headlines began flashing across social media. Tempestt Bledsoe arrested, conspiracy and obstruction in Malcolm Jamal Warner case. The screen split. On one side, Phylicia sobbing into her camera. On the other, footage of Tempestt in handcuffs, her head bowed, her once bright smile replaced with a pale, hollow look. The crowd outside the courthouse screamed in unison. Justice for Malcolm. Some shouted through tears. Others shook with rage. Candles burned in the hands of strangers who'd never met him, yet felt like they had lost a brother. Phylicia tried to speak over her own sobs. But it wasn't just them, there's someone else. The chat erupted again. Who? Name them. We deserve to know. But she wouldn't or couldn't. Her hands trembled as she wiped her face. I can't not yet, but they know who they are, and they know what they did. From that moment, the internet turned into a crime scene. Fans dissected every old interview, every red carpet photo, every moment Malcolm and Tempestt shared on screen. They looked for the forced smiles, the averted eyes, the tension hidden in plain sight. Clips resurfaced of Malcolm in the late 90s, answering questions about his co-stars with careful, measured words. Too careful for someone who is supposedly surrounded by friends. And then came the hashtags. Hashtag Justice for Malcolm. Hashtag Cosby Exposed. Hashtag Cancel Tempest. They trended in dozens of countries within hours. That night, someone leaked the tape Phylicia had spoken about. The audio was rough, but Malcolm's voice was crystal clear, raw, angry, heartbreaking. You've been smiling in my face while cutting me down behind my back. You're working with him. I know you are. You won't stop until I'm gone. The words cut through social media like glass. People listened to it over and over, searching for every sigh, every pause, every ounce of pain in his voice. The final line made even the strongest hearts crumble. One day, you're going to push me too far and I won't make it out alive. It wasn't just a fight. It was a prophecy. And weeks later, that prophecy came true. Outside Malcolm's mother's home, the street was lined with candles, flowers, and handwritten letters. Some fans knelt in the cold, praying silently. Others openly wept, their faces lit by candlelight. A mural appeared overnight on the side of a building, Malcolm's smiling face with the words, "They can't erase you." But while the world mourned, rage burned hotter than ever. People demanded answers. If there was a third conspirator, who was it? And why were they still free? Every hour, more evidence appeared online. Alleged emails, whispers from old crew members, cryptic tweets from industry insiders. A former production assistant claimed they'd seen Malcolm refuse to shoot scenes unless certain people left the set. The name was redacted, but the implication was chilling. Another leak, a private email between Malcolm and his manager, confirmed what fans already feared. 3 people are working together to erase me. 2 names we now knew. The third, still a ghost. By morning, Phylicia was gone. No more live streams. No interviews. No statements. Rumors swirled. She'd been told to stay quiet, or worse, that she was in danger. But her final words still echoed across the internet. Malcolm didn't just die. They took him from us. And somewhere out there, the third conspirator still smiled for cameras, shook hands at parties, and slept peacefully, while Malcolm's voice was gone forever. The morning after Phylicia Rashad's live stream, Hollywood wasn't just shaken. It was in freefall. News vans clogged the streets outside the courthouse. Paparazzi camped outside the homes of every former Cosby Show cast member. And yet, one question hung over everything like a dark cloud. Who was the third conspirator? Tempestt Bledsoe was now behind bars, her image plastered across every screen in America. Bill Cosby's legal team scrambled to release statements, calling Phylicia's accusations baseless. But the public wasn't buying it. The tide had turned. For decades, Cosby had been protected by walls of silence and power. Now, those walls were crumbling, and the cracks were widening. In the midst of the chaos, a new leak surfaced. It was short, only 19 seconds, but it was enough to send shivers down the spine of anyone who heard it. Malcolm's voice.
Low.
Uneasy. Urgent. They're closing in. I don't have much time. It's not just Cosby and Tempest, there's someone else. Someone you'd never suspect. Then, silence. The message ended abruptly, like it had been cut off. Some believed he hung up in fear. Others thought maybe he was interrupted. The recording was played on every news network within hours. Social media lit up with speculation, and the hashtag who is the third began trending worldwide. Tempest's first court appearance was supposed to be routine, a short hearing to set bail. But the moment she walked in, The atmosphere turned electric. Reporters described the scene as unlike anything we've ever covered. Fans who had once adored her were now screaming from the gallery, "Murderer? Where's the third one? Say their name." Tempestt kept her eyes down, her hands cuffed tightly. But observers noticed something strange, the faintest smirk when the judge mentioned additional unnamed suspects. Was she smug, nervous, or signaling something? Imus Witness came forward. They claimed to have been on set during the final months of the Cosby Show's original run. "I saw things," the witness said, their voice distorted on the news broadcast. Conversations that stopped the second I walked into the room. Glares between Malcolm and one other cast member, not Tempestt, not Cosby. Someone else. The anchor pressed them for a name, but the witness refused. "If I say it, I'll have to disappear. I'm not ready for that." The effect was immediate. The internet went into overdrive, dissecting old cast lists, watching interviews frame by frame, hunting for any hint of this mysterious third betrayer. Then came the most haunting leak yet. Unseen footage from Malcolm's private funeral. It showed Phylicia standing near Malcolm's casket, her hands clenched into fists, whispering through tears, "I'm sorry. I tried. I swear to you, I'll finish this." But it wasn't her words that set the internet ablaze. It was the blurred figure in the background. Someone standing in the shadows at the far end of the room. Their face was obscured, but their posture familiar. Too familiar. Fans began freezing the footage, zooming in, overlaying it with old photos. The theories grew wilder by the hour. Some swore it was another Cosby Show star. Others believed it was a high-profile producer who had quietly worked behind the scenes on the series. Journalists began connecting dots no one had dared to before. 3 separate people, all close to Malcolm, had publicly distanced themselves from him in the months before his death. Each had unfollowed him on social media. Each had been spotted at the same private event with Cosby and Tempestt weeks before the tragedy. Coincidence? Or coordination? A former assistant of Malcolm's gave an exclusive interview. He told me once, "If anything happens to me, don't believe the accident story. Look at the people closest to me. Not the ones who smile on camera, the ones who go quiet when the cameras are off." I didn't understand then. I do now. It had been days since Pamela Warner, Malcolm's mother, had spoken publicly. But when she finally did, her words shattered hearts. "They didn't just take my son's life. They took away every dream he had, every future moment he should have lived. And they smiled while doing it." Her voice broke on live television. The anchor wiped away tears mid-interview. Viewers across the country said they had to pause the broadcast to collect themselves. Pamela then confirmed something no one expected. Malcolm had given her a sealed envelope a year before his death, telling her to open it, only if something happens. She hadn't opened it yet, but she would. She promised before the trial began. And then, in the middle of the media storm, a new threat emerged. Phylicia's team reported that she had received an anonymous letter slipped under her door. It read, "Stop talking. The third name stays buried. You've said enough. No signature. No return address." Just those words, written in block letters. For many, this confirmed what they already feared. The third conspirator wasn't just a theory. They were powerful, dangerous, and still watching. The streets outside the courthouse transformed into a war zone of emotion. Fans chanted justice for Malcolm, while others held signs with their own guesses for the third conspirator. At one point, security had to pull back the crowd as people tried to force their way into the building. And then, in a move that left everyone stunned, Cosby's legal team filed a motion to seal all evidence mentioning other unnamed individuals. The judge granted it. The backlash was immediate. Social media exploded. "They're protecting the third conspirator. This is bigger than we thought. What are they hiding?" As part 2 of this unfolding nightmare came to a close, Phylicia made one last televised appearance. She looked tired, worn down, but her voice carried the weight of unshakable resolve. The truth will come out, and when it does, it will burn Hollywood to the ground. She didn't blink. She didn't smile. She just stared into the camera as if speaking directly to the third conspirator, wherever they were. Somewhere in some mansion or private hideaway, that person saw her. And maybe, just maybe, they felt the first crack of fear. The world now waits for the final name. The one revelation that could destroy the last mask in this tragedy. And when it drops, the story won't just be about Malcolm anymore. It will be about every betrayal hidden in plain sight. They thought silence would protect them. They thought deleting files, hiding tapes, and locking away court documents would bury the truth forever. But Malcolm's voice, trembling, raw, pleading, still echoes. If anything happens to me, know it wasn't an accident. That wasn't paranoia. That was prophecy. And now, every word we've uncovered, every piece of evidence we've heard, proves he was right. But here's the harsh truth. This fight isn't over.
Cosby?
Still walking free. The third conspirator? Still hiding in plain sight. And the system? It will close the book on Malcolm's case if we let them. We cannot let that happen. If you're watching this, you are now part of the only army Malcolm has left. The people. The fans. The truth seekers. This is bigger than Hollywood. This is about sending a message to anyone who thinks power and fame can buy a free pass for murder. Here's what you can do right now. Share this video until it reaches every screen, every feed, every timeline. Flood the hashtags. Hashtag Justice for Malcolm. Hashtag Cosby Exposed. Hashtag Who is the Third. Demand that prosecutors release every piece of evidence, every hidden name, every sealed file.
Because if we stay silent, they win.
And if they win, Malcolm's voice dies a second time.
Do not let that happen.
Stand up. Speak out. Be the noise they can't mute. For Malcolm.
For truth.
For every life stolen by betrayal and buried under lies. This isn't the end of the story. This is the moment we take it back. Justice for Malcolm.
Now.